Cameron Barsanti, CEO and founder of StorageLife. So today, I'm really excited about our topic. It's about building better rapport with sellers. That's right, I'm gonna give you my top 5 tips on building better rapport with the sellers we're talking to. Now, this also pertains to obviously chatting with brokers as well, at least a lot of these tips do, but I can't express the importance of being a great salesperson, right? Because really that's ultimately what we're doing. We're selling ourselves to these sellers. A lot of these sellers, they're talking to a lot of people. They're talking to people through text, through phone, they're getting emails, a lot of them are getting letters. So how the heck are we supposed to stand out and actually win these opportunities, right? So that's what we're gonna go over today. Again, I can't express how important this is. This is the game, and you have to win the game. You have to win the opportunity. Now, on the rare occasions, there'll be times where you're talking to a seller and you're the only one, but man, those opportunities are far and few between. So how in the heck do we get the seller to root for us, to connect with us, a lot of times virtually, right? Not in person, build enough rapport, trust that they actually are gonna give us an opportunity to buy their baby. That's right. One of the tricks today is going to be it's a bonus trick. More than building rapport, it's about an actual strategy. And if you want to actually have access to this offer range calculator that we are going to give away, if you don't already have it, drop the range calculator or offer range in the comments and we'll go and make sure you get that calculator. Okay, so let's dive in. Trick number 1 is to sell yourself as the qualified buyer, right? So you're talking to a seller, you have a follow-up call with them, maybe you had a couple of chats with them, you've heard me say it before, 7 to 13 times before they even remember you a lot of times, but you're competing against everybody else. First and foremost, this seller wants to make sure that you're somebody who can actually close the deal, that you can actually afford to buy the deal. How do you get them to believe that, right? Well, if you've never bought a deal, leverage partners, leverage your community. All of my students, they know that they can say, my partner owns and operates in 8 different states. We have our money in place. We're not capital raisers. We would like to pay you fair market value for your property where we can close quickly. We're easy buyers. This isn't our first rodeo. This is all we do full time. We're excited to work with you. Whatever that is, make sure you're sounding like you've done this before. And if you haven't, fake it till you make it. I'm not telling you to be dishonest, but find ways that you can, leverage words and relationships that you know of to make yourself come across as a real buyer. That needs to come across. It needs to be very clear. Again, if you've never done it, you have to somehow fake that confidence to make it happen. Have a website, have an email after you talk that you follow up and you got a great logo and you got a website and you have some pictures of storage and you and your family, whatever it is, your partners. You gotta sound legitimate quickly, okay? Maybe you have a proof of funds ready to go, a snapshot of your bank account, or maybe it's your partner's account, somebody that has a bunch of money in the account. We don't keep a lot of money in our account, but on a big sale, when we had a large amount in my account, I snapshotted that proof of funds and I still use it. So, get clever, find ways. Maybe establish that you have a local presence, even if you don't live there. Yeah, we love the area, we're buying in the area, we know Pleasantville well, wherever it is. You gotta tell a story quickly to the seller. They have to understand, oh wow, this is a good buyer, they're qualified, they know what they're doing. Okay, let's talk. Cool. Okay, number 2, send them a contract. Now, this is a little bit, yes, it's about building rapport, but it's also about building this trust. So piggybacking off number 1, send a contract. That's right. Now, a verbal contract, an email, a written email that says what you're going to pay, all that helps, but nothing really happens until you send that gentleman or that lady a contract in writing, in paper, or maybe it's a virtual contract that they pull up. But regardless, where they can read in 60 days, buyer is going to pay us X amount of money. Now, when they can read that, they can show it to their spouse, and all of a sudden they have this picture, this story of, man, hon, we are maybe going to close this property in 60 days. It's on here. I can read it. It wasn't a conversation. It's real. That's a big deal. Most people aren't sending contracts. Send them. You should be sending several a week. Seriously. Nothing really happens until you send that contract for both you and for the seller. Make it real. Send them a written contract telling them how much you're going to pay for their baby. I promise you, this is a big one. This is going to help move the needle forward a lot. You'll see a much bigger impact when you start doing this. All right. Tip number 3, meet with them on a Zoom call if you can't get in front of them in person, right? Obviously, an in-person meeting is best. You can't always just jump on a plane and go meet a seller, but I promise you, when you can, you're setting yourself up from 99% of the pack. When I have a facility under contract or we're looking at a property or we're going to visit one, I then take my VA team and tell them, full court press on this market. Let's find other sellers that are willing to sell. Why? Because if I'm in the area, I then can easily jump over and go meet another seller. This is huge, you guys. This helps so much. So I was in Illinois recently. I looked at a property. I got a response from one of my letters right before I left. That was seller number 2. And then while I was there, I then got a phone call from seller number 3, different property. And I'm like, I'm going to meet you tomorrow. And I showed up and he couldn't believe it. I drove in a snowstorm and he's like, holy cow, like literally I called you and you showed up. That guy and I are talking about 2 different properties. One, I'm buying from him 50,000 square feet, and then 7 acres of land that he's actually wants to develop with me. Now, whether we decide to partner up or whatever, it doesn't matter. I nailed the rapport. I showed up in person. He's like, there's a guy that's been trying to buy my facility for over a year. He bugs me all the time. He still hasn't shown up and he lives in Illinois. Again, I met him in person. And that has the largest impact. If not, jump on Zoom call. We do it all the time, and all of a sudden they get to see us. We have this community meeting, and all of a sudden the seller's like, wow, okay, so I see your team, you're real, you're not just a postcard, you're not just a random phone call or a random text, we're talking. I like you guys. I can tell you're really working hard on building this relationship and trying to figure out this deal. They really appreciate it. I have several students about to close a deal right now that we've been building rapport with the seller for 9 months. And after we actually flew out there for the first time, he kept saying he was getting offers for over $2 million. We were at like 1.2. And I said kindly, we took him to breakfast. And I was like, how many of these people that are making you these, what sound like kind of inflated, outrageous offers, how many of these people are actually showing up or following up? 0. The answer was 0. Nobody. Yeah. And he knew that right when we posed the question. He knew, like, yeah, you're right. You're the only one that actually showed up. By the end of breakfast, he said, I like you. I'm not going to sell to anybody else until we figure out whether we have a deal or not. Guys, this works so well, right? So in person, first and foremost, if not, jump on a couple of Zoom calls. We've had handfuls of Zoom calls with a single buyer. This guy, we keep meeting, and finally we got him down in price. We're about to close that deal with 4 of my students. It was a big win. Cool. So meeting in person, that connection, human to human, it means everything. They can't get that on a phone call. No matter how many jokes you have or how good or bad at comedy you have or whatever endearing things you can say, it doesn't matter. You got to make that human to human connection. Number 4, this is an interesting one, and it's actually educating the seller. So what I like to do, the gentleman in Illinois that I'm talking to right now, he was stuck at 2.5. And I was like, man, I just can't get there. So we jumped on a Zoom and I actually walked him through not only my underwriting, but I walked him through my amortization schedule as well. A calculator my team and I built out. You can find them online. It's a bank, it's a balloon calculator. It's an amortization calculator with a balloon payment potentially. But I'm walking them through, going, so on Zoom, saying, okay, so check out the underwriting. Here's where why I'm stuck. Here's why I can't pay more than 2.3. Here's also the options I'm giving you that are going to make you X amount of interest in 5 to 10 years. So by the end of this long Zoom call with a seller, the seller's like, okay, cool. I understand why you can't pay more than 2.3. I also understand that if you give me a 5 and 10 year option, even if it's on a 40-year AM and you're only paying me 5% interest, by the end of that 5 and 10 year, I'm going to make over $3 million. I painted a very clear numerical picture for that seller to understand. I'm your buyer. I met you in person. I just can't pay you what your rock bottom number was. And 2.5 was his rock bottom. And I can only pay you 2.3. So through this liquid conversation, I painted this picture of why it is what it is, and it was kind of a take it or leave it, but I was so willing to make it work, and so we did. I literally educated the seller. Tip number 4. Tip number 5. Easy one, stay in touch. You talk to him, you have great connection, doesn't matter. Did you call him the next week? Did you stay in touch? Did you do what you were going to say? Did you make him an offer? Did you send him an offer? Did you send him an updated offer? You could have great connection. And I've had several of these opportunities where we had such good rapport. It felt great. He liked me. He laughed. I laughed at his jokes. Oh man, hey. And then guess what? Somebody beat me out because they called the next week and I didn't. Unfortunately, a lot of times it's just timing is everything, right? And a lot of times it is. And so build enough rapport to the point where that seller literally put your number in their cell phone. That's right. They added you as a contact. Cameron Barsanti, storage buyer. They logged it in and they have my email and they have my cell phone. And you make it very easy for them to contact you when they're ready to sell or they're ready to negotiate, whatever. Make it easy for them. And by making it easy, that means you're also following up. We do some cold calling with our VA team, and then a letter potentially or postcard, and then call them again and be like, hey, I just wanted to make sure that you got our letter we sent you last week, or hey, we sent you a text last month. We also sent you a letter. Just wanted to make sure you got it, whatever. Now you have an excuse to call. But the follow-up game, we say it all the time, it's everything. The real game, if you want to actually become the best storage investor, the most successful storage investor I know, it's get good at following up. That is it. So it's tip number 5, but it's really tip number 1. Okay, so we got 5 tips of building rapport with a seller. They're all extremely important. Last thing I'm going to drop you with, range offer calculator. We built it. drop range offer or range calculator in the comments. We'll make sure we get to that. My VA team, we gather information on a first rough call, and we'll make them an offer based on their gross revenue. That's right. On the phone, first call, we will make them an offer, a verbal offer, but it's a range. I learned this in wholesaling single family. I stumbled upon it where instead of giving everybody a singular number that basically is like do or die, I say, well, if you're making gross amount of 120K, we put it in the calculator, my VAs do it now, I've done it as well, and then it spits out a range and say, okay, well, based on your revenue, I haven't seen your property, but I can pay you roughly 1 million to 1.7 depending on terms, whether you're gonna carry the note or not. Am I within striking distance? This is not an offer, it's a tool to get them to actually tell you what they really want. That's a bonus tip, more so about strategy than rapport building. That's all I got, guys, for today. Thanks for joining. We'll be here next week.